Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for the announcement. I'm pleased to intro Honorable Harjit Sajjan, who's going to be kicking our announcement off this morning. I'll kick it over to you now. Thanks.
Great, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this very important milestone announcement for the future of public transportation in New Westminster and the greater Metro Vancouver area. I'm joining you from the unceded traditional territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I am here virtually alongside my friend and colleague, the Honorable Catherine McKenna, Minister of Infrastructure and Communities, as well as the TransLink CEO, Kevin Desmond, and the Nova Bus Vice President and General Manager, Martin LaRose. I would also like to acknowledge my colleagues, Minister Carla Qualtrough, I believe, is on the line, Member of Parliament Ron McKinnon from Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, and Pacific Chair, Member of Parliament Patrick Wheeler from West Vancouver, Sunshine Coast, and Sea to Sky Country. We are continuing to work closely with provinces, municipalities, and all stakeholders to get infrastructure projects built quickly. Projects that help support local economies across the country and make a positive difference in the lives of all Canadians. Now, these important investments help grow the economy and create good, well-paying jobs, improve people's quality of life, and protect the environment. Now, by building up infrastructure in our cities and neighborhoods, it helps create real positive change, and something that it's very well needed right now. It helps people to live healthier lives. It helps to grow businesses. It keeps communities connected, which is more important than ever these days. Now, today's announcement with TransLink's acquisition of battery electric buses shows that we are making steps in the right direction to reduce pollution, take care of the environment, and improve access to public transit for Canadians. By connecting communities, we are increasing accessibility to public transit and making our public transit systems cleaner and a greener option. Now, whether you're a student in Vancouver South or a senior in New Westminster, investments like this make difference on the ground. Our public transit investments are making sure that no matter where you are traveling in the Lower Mainland, like the 100 line in New Westminster, there will be better service that keeps our environment green. So now I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce my good friend and colleague who has worked extremely hard with provinces and cities across Canada to invest and develop community infrastructure from coast to coast to coast. Please welcome my good friend, Minister Catherine McKenna.
Well, thank you very much, Minister Sajjan Harj. This is a great announcement today. It's great to be joining you. I know how much you care about taking action to improve people's lives, to get around faster, cleaner, more affordable ways, but also climate action. It's great to also be here with Ron McKinnon, the MP for Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam. I know how important transit is for you, but also for residents in your riding, and you've been a huge advocate. I don't know who else is on the call joining us by Zoom, but I think Patrick Wheeler very interested in this. He certainly is a huge champion for climate action, as well as a number of ministers from Carla Qualtrough, Jonathan Wilkinson, Joyce Murray, and MPs from Terry Beach, Hetty Fry, Randeep Sarai, Ken Hardy, and Suk Dhaliwal. I think I've got all of them. They talk to me all the time about transit and the need for more and better transit. Obviously, I'm also thrilled to be joined by a friend, Kevin Desmond. Although sadly, I guess you're leaving us, which is a great tragedy, I think, for all, given your amazing leadership at TransLink. And thank you, because I've done a number of tours of electric buses with you, which gets me really excited, because this is really about the future of transportation, and you've been such a leader. So thank you for your service. I know you probably want to spend more time with your family, so that is very understandable. Sometimes I think I want to spend less time because I'm now homeschooling my kids, but I do love my family too, yes. Et bonjour Martin. Alors Martin Larose de Nova Bus. Alors j'ai passé beaucoup de temps dans des bus Nova Bus. One of the untold stories that we can't talk about enough is the jobs and manufacturing opportunity here in Canada when we talk about electric buses. That we produce the best buses in the world. There's a number of manufacturers. So it's a great story. Nova Bus is one of them. So thank you very much. Je ne sais pas si vous êtes au Québec, mais on vous salue et vos employés. I want to start by recognizing that, well, I'm on the traditional territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe peoples, but in New Westminster, hopefully I get this right, you're on the unceded traditional territory of the Kukite, First Nation, and Coast Salish peoples. I think it's incredibly important that we recognize the importance of our partnership with Indigenous peoples. And certainly, I know they care greatly about climate and action to protect our environment, which is definitely part of this announcement. This is a continuation of announcements that and investments that we have been making across the Lower Mainland. Our government has invested more than $2 billion in more than 60 projects. And these are projects that make a real difference in people's lives, like upgrades to the Expo Line SkyTrain and the Millennium Line extension to Arbutus. And that's really our focus. I mean, certainly we're all focused on the pandemic right now. It is an extremely challenging time, and a huge kudos to all our transit workers and the transit authorities who've worked so hard to get essential workers to work and help people get around as we reopen economy in a safe way. We've supported the operating expenses because obviously revenues are down, but we continue to believe in transportation. Public transportation is the future. Transportation represents 30% of our greenhouse gas emissions, and we have solutions, including Nova Bus, which is certainly part of the solutions. And the Prime Minister has been clear. He announced when we announced our climate plan, our enhanced climate plan in December, that he would be announcing permanent public transit funding in January. So that is very exciting. Clearly, this is a commitment of our government to move forward, to do what is right, to help people get back and forth from work, kids to school, to do it in ways that are cleaner and better for the environment. They also happen to be quieter, and it's very cool if you go in an electric bus. But the operating costs are a lot less. And as I say, there's a jobs and Canadian manufacturing story that is incredibly important. We're going to continue to invest in public transit, and that's why this announcement today is so important. And this, I should say, is part of a direct investment that the federal government makes to municipalities through kind of the poorly named gas tax fund. But this is how we support priorities from local communities directly. Federal government transfers to municipalities to do really important things. I'm really pleased that this is the contract signing between TransLink and Nova Bus for Metro Vancouver's transit system. And the federal government is providing $16 million for the purchase of 15 Nova Bus Canadian-made battery electric buses that will support TransLink's first fully electric bus route. And I'm wondering if Minister Sajjan somehow arranged so that it could go through his riding. He probably did, because I know how important it is to him. As I said, it's about cleaner air, it's about quieter streets, it's about efficient, reliable public transit using Canadian supply chains. It's about connecting communities, and it's also making sure that we have affordable options for folks to get around. This is a win-win-win. Our infrastructure plan is investing in thousands of projects across the country, creating good jobs at a time when we really need good jobs, and building cleaner, more inclusive communities for a net zero emissions future. Un petit bout en français. Alors, je suis très heureuse de participer aujourd'hui à cet événement virtuel pour la signature du contrat entre TransLink et l'entreprise québécoise Nova Bus concernant le réseau de transport en commun de Metro Vancouver. Canada fournit 16 millions de dollars directement à TransLink pour l'achat de 15 autobus électriques à batterie construits au Canada et qui viendront appuyer la première ligne d'autobus entièrement électrique de TransLink. Alors, félicitations à Novabus, félicitations en TransLink. Ça veut dire un air plus pur, des rues moins bruyantes, un transport en commun efficace et fiable grâce aux chaînes d'approvisionnement canadiennes. Ça veut dire qu'on unit des communautés et on supporte des communautés plus inclusives. Alors, tout le monde y gagne. Le plan d'infrastructure du Canada permet d'investir dans des milliers de projets, de créer de bons emplois dans tout le pays et de bâtir des collectivités plus propres et plus inclusives en vue d'un avenir à zéro émission nette. I won't go into the details because I'm sure that we will hear many more details, I hope, from Kevin Desmond and for Martin, but our government is very happy to be supporting these investments. This really is about the future of transportation, but even bigger than that, it's about the future of Canada. These investments are building the country we want with ambition, making sure that we are creating good jobs in Canada, we're building our manufacturing capacity, and most of all, we're driving to more equitable and inclusive communities and to a net zero emissions future. We have the solutions, we are committed to doing that, and we have made it clear that this is part of our plan to exceed the commitments that we've made under our climate plan. We all need to be doing our part, including Vancouver, including the transportation sector. And with that, I will hand it over to my friend Kevin Desmond, the CEO of TransLink. I don't know that I will get onto another electric bus with you before you leave, but maybe once we get out of the pandemic, you can come back and we can check out this all electric bus route. Thanks.
Thank you, Minister McKenna, and thank you, first of all, so much for your kind words. It's great to see you again, particularly on this topic. I know how very, very passionate you are about this particular topic when we combine improving public transportation with improving the climate. So hats off to you and the government for your ongoing support and friendship. And yes, I'd love to come back to ride these buses once they're in service next year. It's sometimes difficult for us to focus on the future right now when we're so consumed by our present. However, as we continue to tackle the COVID pandemic and all the challenges it brings to our industry, it's vitally important to remember that we're also in the midst of a different crisis, a climate crisis. And that's why today's announcement is so important. This major expansion of our battery electric bus network through the purchase of 15 new battery electric buses from Novabus will more than quadruple our current fleet, bringing our total from 4 buses to 19. And I will say this is only the beginning. In fact, the drive to zero emission electric transit, it's inexorable. And with partners like the federal government, we will see that it happens. When we rolled out our first 4 battery electric buses in 2019, it was a new chapter in a long history of electric powered transit in Metro Vancouver. This region has been a leader in electrified transit dating all the way back to the late 19th century when fully electric streetcars first rolled into service here. We've been proudly running one of North America's largest fleet of electric trolley buses since the 1940s, as well as our fully electric and automated SkyTrain system since the 1980s. We know green power. Transit has always been one of the greenest ways to travel for all of Metro Vancouver. Our history with electricity powering transit is long, but we're always looking to be better by reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. In recent years, we've been seeking to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by replacing our old diesel buses with new buses that run on cleaner technologies, such as compressed natural gas, a hybrid of diesel and electric, and of course, our fully electric battery powered buses that we're just starting with. In 2019, even though we put more buses on the road as part of our long-lasting transit expansion program here, we saw a 5% reduction in our greenhouse gas emissions compared to 2018. But we can do even better than that. moving forward. And TransLink is committed to reducing our emissions by 45% by the year 2030 by transitioning to a fleet of powered entirely by renewable energy by 2050. These new battery electric buses ensure we're on track to achieving that timeline. When comparing battery electric buses to a conventional diesel bus, each one of these new buses is expected to reduce 100 tons of GHG emissions and save $40,000 a year in fuel costs. Now, this is only the beginning. As you heard from MP Sajan and Minister McKenna, this is going to fully electrify our Route 100, which travels from our 22nd Street multimodal station in New Westminster through the city of Burnaby all the way into the city of Vancouver, connecting 3 communities with zero emission green buses. It's going to be a great start for us. But this 15 bus order is really just the start. Our plan is to continue to replace buses being retired. All the buses, once they reach their age where we have to say goodbye to them, we want to replace them all with zero emission battery electric buses. And to do that, we have to continue the partnership with the federal government, our partnership with the province as well, to help us along the way to get there. I am convinced through that collaboration and ongoing partnership, we will make that happen. I'm confident that TransLink's zero emission future is bright, and initiatives like this one will help Metro Vancouver be a greener place for us all. Now, it's my pleasure to welcome the Vice President General Manager of Nova Bus, Martin LaRose. We've had a very long partnership with Nova Bus here at TransLink and the Coast Mountain Bus Company. We're absolutely delighted to continuing that partnership with their new generation of electric buses. So over to you, Martin.
Thank you very much, Kevin. So good morning, everyone. It's definitely a pleasure to be here with you all this morning, although virtually. Honorable Catherine McKenna, Honorable Harjit Sayan, and Mr. Desmond, CEO of TransLink, quite happy to be here with you this morning to share this great news for the city of Vancouver. So we at Nova Bus, the whole team, I can tell you, are really, really proud in continuing to support TransLink by providing you with 15 new LFSE Plus buses. It's a long term, but that's how we call them, LFSE Plus, which is basically our long range, fully electric transit bus that delivers safe, clean, and reliable ridership experience for everyone that uses them. So in Canada, we have joined a small but growing group of countries, states, provinces, and cities that are pledging to reach net zero emissions by 2050. With transportation responsible for more than a quarter of the carbon pollution produced in Canada, it represents a major area in need of smart solutions. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate Ms. Minister McKenna for your continued initiative in cleaner transit solutions. So thank you very much for this. These types of initiatives have definitely a positive impact on the evolution of the transport industry and challenges us as industry leaders to continually develop sustainable products based on the highest standards. So thank you for pushing us into that direction. More cities demand reduced greenhouse gas emissions and greater sustainability, and we're meeting this need with our new product, the LFSE Plus. Conceived with our electric drivetrain partners at BAE, our new product represents the perfect pairing of our proven expertise with the latest innovations in clean and sustainable technologies. These zero emission buses will keep the city air cleaner, as well as provide a quieter transit experience and a healthier environment to all of its passengers. The electromobility market is really growing at a record pace, actually faster than we thought, which is great, with a mass adoption of electric vehicles happening quite fast. Lower battery pricing and tighter emission regulations continue to drive this trend. Society is demanding cleaner and quieter alternatives to traditional powered engines, and the transportation industry is quickly responding. Transit agencies around the world are progressively transitioning to electric. Our electric buses are already rolling in a few cities across the streets in Canada in real operations, already helping to significantly reduce emissions and noise. So at Nova Bus, I'd like to conclude by saying we are determined to continue driving our industry towards a sustainable future. We're looking forward to a successful contract with TransLink and hopefully many more to come. Thank you, everyone, and I wish you all a great day.
Hi, thanks everyone. So we'll move to the Q&A portion of today's announcement. So if there are any reporters in the room, raise your hand and I'll ask you to unmute so you can ask your question. Well, seeing there are none, I guess it was all covered in the remarks. If there's any reporters watching on YouTube, please feel free to email us at media@translink.ca if you have any follow-up questions. Thanks everyone for joining.
Kevin, I want to get in touch with you. So how do I do that? My team's going to try to get in touch with you